I wrote it all on one piece of paper. Every single thing you need to know is on this one piece of paper. And as you probably can guess from my earlier presentation, I'm joking. It's not that simple. If it were that simple, we wouldn't need to be here. So I'm going to get some of these going around. This way, if you could take one and pass it around. I'm going to get them going over here. Take one and pass it around. So the big difference for you guys thinking about housing is you probably have more things, more decisions to make. And you have some options and choices to help you pick a path you want to go down. So starting at the top, the very first thing you get to think about is, do I want to rent or own my next home? Because there's a whole universe of opportunities in the rental category, but there's a different universe in the ownership category. And guess what? They don't really talk to each other, right? So you're going to get on wait lists, you're going to go to websites that are rental related, different ones for ownership. Now you can definitely look at both. There's nothing wrong with looking at both, but it is eventually a decision you're going to have to make. Do I want to rent or do I want to own? Then you get to think about, do I want it to be age restricted or not? Do I want to live in what's called, quote unquote, 55 and up housing or not, right? So there are some very expensive 55 up condominiums, right? So you could live in a palace that's age restricted. And there's probably some fabulous 55 up rental housing that's also fabulous and palatial. And then, of course, there are lots and lots of good opportunities that are not age restricted. So that's another, okay, so ownership, rental, 55, age restricted, not. You got to figure that out. Then you got to figure out, am I looking for affordable housing or just market rate housing? Market rate housing is just expensive, and it is available to anyone at any time who can write the right check and have their driver's license and social security card. Affordable is going to take a lot more effort on your part. As I described before, it is going to involve, for sure, lotteries and wait lists. If you want to go the affordable route, as I mentioned before, there are income limits. So you must be at or below certain income limits to be eligible for this housing. And in ownership affordable housing, there's also something called an asset limit. So the asset limit for senior housing, I didn't write it down, it's $275,000, I think, about that. So that sounds pretty high, but if you're currently living in a house and you don't have debt on it and you go to sell it, you may actually now have too much cash and no longer be eligible for affordable ownership housing. However, you are likely to be eligible for affordable rental housing. So affordable rental housing does not have an asset limit. Last path you have to think about is whether you want to live in housing that has supportive services or no supportive services. And as you might guess, the more services, the more expensive. But there's quite a continuum. You know, there's everything from the fabulous community center and rec room and nursing staff, all the way down to a property management office who's got a lovely person in it who once a week will give you a call and say, check in, how's it going? So as you're going to visit places and you look at how much it costs, definitely one of your questions you need to ask is, what services are available on site to me? What am I getting for my money? And clearly, the older you get, in case you didn't know, the poorer you get and the more disabled you get, okay? I am the bearer of bad news. In case you didn't know that yet, it's coming. You are going to lose many of your skills and lose much of your money over the coming years. It's simply a fact. So you want to be in housing that hopefully enables you to stay there and be comfortable and not bleed out all your money as long as you can. So very important to consider the cost of the place. Can you live there comfortably and afford it and not lose all your money quickly? And does it have services that you think you might need and allows you to age there as long as you can? Now, before any of this, there are those challenging questions of, what am I going to do with my dining room table? What about, the boxes and boxes of books that you've been meaning to give away for the last 10 years? So making this move requires a lot of preparation before you really can even begin to look. But starting to look will let you know what you're up against and what some of the constraints might be, like the 12-person dining room table you might not be able to squeeze into the 650 square foot apartment that has been offered to you. That's it for my formal presentation. She looks exhausted. She hasn't even started looking for affordable housing yet. She's exhausted.